Hey guys, today I'm going to take you through my basic hip mobility series. If you're already working with me, you know this series well, this is your homework. If this is your first time, I'll guide you through the whole thing and I'll talk to you a little bit more about the hips and why we're doing this series and why I recommend it for everybody. Okay, so first we're going to start in this upright seated position. I'm going to have you start with your feet a little bit wider than shoulders. Okay, and we're just going to start to warm up the hips with what I like to call windshield wipering. Okay, make sure that we're not dumping a ton of weight back here on the wrist. You can be up on your fingertips. If this hurts from this position already, you can lean back a little bit. Okay, some people feel that right away at that hip internal rotation. Okay, so first few may feel a little crunchy, and we're gonna start to feel a little bit more fluid as we warm up that joint. Okay, just moving through. Make sure to take those breaths in through your nose. That's gonna help relax the body, stimulating your parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, no mouth breathing. Again, if you're working with me, you know that well already. Okay, so now we're gonna plant the feet. They're still in that same position, but we're gonna keep the outsoles of the feet down. Okay, and we're just gonna work one knee in towards center line. Okay, you're gonna feel that right away here at the top of the hip. May feel like you're cramping. We're gonna alternate. Okay, that's your hip internal rotation. So I'm squeezing in, holding that for a second or two, and coming back to center. And we're gonna just alternate sides here. Be sure to keep the outsole of the foot down. If you lift that foot, you're gonna get a false sense of your hip internal rotation mobility. Okay, so nice and controlled. One thing I like to point out is no ego with your range of motion here. You don't have to look like I do, okay? That can just be a couple degrees in and you may feel that. If you're cramping at the top of the hip, it's normal, especially if you've never been in this position before. We're activating that internal rotation and you're getting stronger. Okay, keep working through that. Taking your deep breaths. Okay, I'm gonna do about 20 repetitions here. If you've done this before, you may know how long you need to hold that. Sometimes coming in, holding for about 10 seconds, maybe what you need as you start to get a little bit more advanced. But for now, we're just gonna move through small repetitions here. Okay, a few more per side. Basically, when it really starts to burn, then you do a few more. Kind of rule of thumb for a lot of things. Okay. Then from here, we're gonna drop into what we call the figure 8 position or 90-90. So I'm gonna be 90 degrees here at the hips and 90 degrees here at the knees. And what I wanna do here is just fold over this front leg, and that should feel pretty good, especially if it's your first one of the day. Hips carry a lot of stress and tend to get really tight. So I'm taking a couple deep breaths in through the nose, exhaling out, seeing if I can relax those hip muscles a little bit more, driving that femur back into that hip socket. Okay, then I'm picking up the chest. Goal is to be upright here, hands crossed, keeping the feet right where they are as you flip over. That first one's probably gonna feel a little crunchy. My first one of the day, yours probably will too, but you'll notice as you move through these repetitions that it'll become a little bit more fluid. So I'm taking a couple of deep breaths here, same thing on this side, and then again, picking up the chest, dropping up and over the other side. You may find that one side is easier than the other. Again, I'm gonna do this 2 to 3 times per side. A couple deep breaths here, keeping that spine nice and long, and then picking up. Your modification is just gonna be hands behind you. Okay, as much as you need to lean back into that. If this is your first time, again, no ego, definitely hold on behind you. You don't need to be chest up right today. But with enough practice, with this series, you should be able to get here, okay? So I'm gonna do one more time per side. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling, maybe seeing if you can get a little bit deeper into this stretch as you go on with repetitions. Picking up, and over the other side. And again, I'm just gonna fold here. All right, from this position, I'm just gonna come back to that base start, right leg in front, left leg behind. We're gonna find internal rotation from this position as well. So some of you may need to lean forward for this one. You may even need to come onto your side in a kind of side plank position. But for most of us, an upright position is gonna be fine. What we're gonna try to do is see if we can get some action on this back foot here, okay? May be really hard if you've never done this before. May feel weird to try to even move your foot back there. Okay, we're coming up and squeezing and back. You're gonna notice it's that same feeling we were doing the feet planted, working the knee in. It's essentially the same thing, okay? So I'm kind of pressing the knee down, lifting that foot up. You're gonna feel that right away, internal rotation. And we're gonna move through about 15 repetitions here. Okay. If you need to start lower, if you need to start around 10, and that's your absolute max, that's okay too. Just do your best to follow along. Again, up here is gonna be my standard. That is goal, okay? If we need to modify, we're shifting forward, or like I said, you can come into kind of a modified side plank position to work on that from here, okay? So after about 15 repetitions there, we're gonna work the front leg in external rotation. Okay, so some of you may need to hold on right away here, right behind. We're trying to keep the chest upright as much as possible and really draw in the core. So no laziness here through the core. You're gonna find you probably are burning through the obliques a little bit here as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna extend that front leg in and out. Be sure to keep that knee jutting towards the side, because it's really easy to start to get that knee towards your center line. Okay, but keep that out. This is gonna feel like work, so we're gonna have you focus on the breath. This is a place where people tend to start holding their breath. Okay, extend all the way out. That work is really on those last few degrees of extension, so make sure you get all the way out and squeeze. Again, this is the goals to be upright. If we need hand assist behind, go for it. Make sure you're just not dumping into the wrist there though, okay? So holding yourself up with your core, really starting to feel these. We'll do a few more, let's go 4, 3, 2, and last one. Stretching over that leg, you're gonna be ready for that. Couple breaths here. And then we're gonna flip sides. You can casually flip sides here. You don't have to keep your feet strict in position. Okay, so now same thing on this side, finding that 90 and 90 degrees. It's okay if both sides feel a little bit different, okay? So first starting here with that internal rotation, I'm gonna go, you may notice this side may be a little less mobile than the other for me. Okay, also gonna be easier with that foot further inside, closer to the body. If you're finding that that's kind of easy, go ahead and move your foot a little further away. That really strict 90 degree at the knee is gonna be where you wanna work from. Okay, remember our modifications, we can go hands behind, or we can find a kind of side plank position here that might be better for some people, okay? Leaning forward here though, it's definitely gonna be your easiest if you're new at this. Okay. A few more, 5, 4, 3, 2, and if you work with me, you might know I'm gonna have you hold on that last rep, especially if you're a troubled side. 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Lots of ways to modify these and to make them much more intense. Okay, so now going with that external rotation here with that front leg. Here, extending out. Again, trying to keep those steady breaths. Draw in the core. I'm feeling lots of oblique work here too. Okay, this is gonna change your midsection. The hips are the foundation of your core. And I see a lot of people with immobile hips. Okay, we wanna nourish that synovial fluid inside the joint. This is really gonna help with hip impingement, okay? It just means like your hips are kind of locked, and we need those to turn over for a lot of things, a lot of sports. You get a lot of golfers that can't turn their hips over, okay? 5, 4, again, holding on behind if we need to modify. Last 2, and last 1. That really burns. Excited about this stretch. We're gonna take over the front. Couple breaths here. And then picking the chest back up. Now we're gonna go into hip cars. I highly recommend having a pad for your knees if you need it, or a rolled up towel. Definitely don't wanna compromise the knees to try to save the hips. So we're gonna find a tabletop position here. And we're gonna try to keep the rest of the body really still as we do this. But I'm gonna take that hip around in its largest range of motion. And I'm gonna focus on keeping that knee bent, and imagine you're taking that knee around in one big circle. Okay, so keeping the rest of the body still. We're starting that left side and we're squeezing up behind. It's gonna look like your donkey kick. Opening up to the side, we're gonna go really slow to make sure that we can get all those muscles engaged, coming forward, in, and around. We're gonna do this 5 times, squeezing up. This is 3. Nice and slow, and the sticky parts around the side. A lot of people wanna rush through these. I see a lot of this, and a lot of like arching and moving through the rest of the body. Okay, once again, no ego with that range of motion. That's okay if you don't look exactly like I do. Squeeze up around the side. Definitely go slower on those parts that feel harder. Okay, and then we're gonna reverse it. So we're gonna come forward with the knee, open to the side, turning that knee back over, right back through center. Okay. Make sure you're breathing, drawing in your abdominals, rest the body, staying really steady. You may find one position is a little bit harder than the other, one direction. And then spread your fingertips here and grip through your last knuckle. We want to make sure that we're not just dumping into the wrist here as we do these. Okay, I'm going to work the other side, squeezing up, drawing open, bringing that knee forward towards the elbow and around, squeezing up, peeling open, and back and around. 5 times each side, each direction. And we're almost done with this series already. And squeeze up, peel open, knee towards that elbow, in and around. This is a part a lot of people kind of skip over. I see them coming from the outside and then kind of just dropping in. Make sure you're going full circle, okay? Little break if you need in between any of the directions. You can come back in a little child's pose, kind of stretch the hips out, then reset yourself, drawing underneath the armpits here, lengthen the neck. Let's go, last side, knee forward, up and around. You'll notice as I'm taking that knee out to the side and then back into position, that's internal rotation there, turning that hip back over. Some people really struggle with that position as well. Good, 2 more here. Up, trying not to rush through these. In and around. Forward, peeling open, flipping that over and around. Good, and a nice little child's pose here is gonna feel really nice, closing out that series. Okay guys, that is my basic hip mobility. There's much more advanced that we can get and a lot of modifying if need be, but feel free to contact me. And if you're working with me, it's your homework. Thank you for tuning in.